So we're just going for a quick drive and we're going to talk about the big Blizzard news right now. So why am I in the car? I had to get out. There's just so much to think about with what... I'm not going to sit here and talk about the lawsuit or anything that's to do with Blizzard. I'm purely interested in their games. So we've got Overwatch news. We've got WoW speculations, so WoW Classic speculations. And they're purely my speculations, but hopefully they will make sense to you. And we're going to look at when we think we're going to see Phase 2. Pretty much to the exact date. And then also we've got big Diablo 2 Resurrected news. So if you're interested in Diablo 2 and how to get on the beta, when you can play the beta and everything else to do with Diablo 2, make sure you stay till the end. So first, let's talk about Overwatch. Now, I don't actually play Overwatch, but now's not a good time to be pushing games back or getting games delayed. We know they've got a lot going on in-house, which has obviously led to this, but we're now looking at no new Overwatch content till 2023. Oh, that's what's rumoured anyway. So now we're back indoors editing. Let's have a quick look at this leak about the, rumoured delay till 2023, because by the looks of it, from what research I've done, it doesn't look like it's factually accurate, but it looks pretty likely. So a delay, a pushback till 2023. So have a look where it's come from. So the problem at Blizzard seems to have caused a new delay for Overwatch 2 as a big name sponsor pulls out of the Overwatch League. Obviously, that's not good news. So there's already been reports of work on World of Warcraft has come to a halt, which we obviously know about. Overwatch 2 was first announced in 2019, and at the time was implied to be out relatively soon. 2023, 2019, relatively soon. Yeah. As a leaker points out, updates of the original game have slowed to a crawl in recent months, which makes the prospect of waiting up to a year and a half for a major update very worrying. So the Overwatch expert Metro, no relation, suggests that no relation, this is actually Metro website we're looking at, suggests that Overwatch development is taking longer than expected, and according to them, a release in 2022 does not seem likely anymore, with a 2021 launch being completely ruled out. For me personally, 2022, that's a whole year away. They could really push forward on development. I think 2023 is a bit of a stretch. Me personally, I would say maybe back end of 2022, just at a guess. But 2023 seems really far away when they're so deep into development already. Now, I've looked at various articles on this, and people are basically saying that it's a balancing issue with the classes. That's the main reason. But is it really going to take a year and a half or over a year and a half to actually balance the classes? I would probably say no. But if you're a big Overwatch fan, then this isn't great news. I'm sorry if you didn't know this already. It's looking unlikely apparently for a 2022 release, but I would still hold out hope that you might see it to the back end of next year. Alright, and now let's talk about TBC and the release schedule, because really, to understand the release schedule, you've got to think about the arena seasons. There's been seasons as long as 10 months, and then there's been seasons as short as about 13 weeks. 13 weeks is far too short. The average is about 20 to 23, I would say, somewhere between there. So let's look at where we are there and when, based on arena seasons, we could see Phase 2, or will we get Phase 1.5? Now, sorry, when I was out, obviously limited info and I was going off memory. I was actually wrong. It's not 13 weeks. It was 11 weeks was the shortest, which was Season 21. And the longest was about 10 months, like I said, like 38 weeks. So just under 10 months, but you get what I mean. Anywhere between 11 weeks and 38 weeks. That's a massive, massive difference. And we know that's because, there might have been content that was in development or testing at that time, which makes some seasons longer or shorter than others. But I think we can all agree 11 weeks is short. That's too short when the average is probably between 20 and 22 weeks. So let's have a look at the good old Google Calendar. Look at where we were, as in when Season 1 started, and how many weeks it's been going as of now, this point in time, and then try and gauge when we think Season 2 roughly will start. Because Season 2 is meant to come with Phase 2. Now, I said about Phase 1.5. I can truly see Blizzard by the end of the month launching Phase 1.5 or announcing 1.5 for maybe middle of September. That would be the big move. But when I say that would be the big move, that then will rush through even more content. That's the thing. That we're then probably going to have a Phase 2.5, maybe not 3.5, but 2.5 and certainly like 4.5, because they'll have to just stick to sort of a regular release window sort of thing of PvE content and try and keep the arena seasons all sort of a similar length over the 4 seasons. There's 4 PvP seasons, by the way, which sort of makes sense, when you think about the amount of time we're expecting TBC, nearly 2 years. So you would be looking at 5 to 6 months for each season. But let's look at where we are. I'll try and do this as clearly as possible. TBC launched on the 1st of June, and the first arena season started on the 15th of June. So 15th of June would be week 1, then week 2, then week 3, then week 4, then week 5, so 13th of July is week 5, then week 6, week 7, week 8 being the 3rd of August, week 9. So we're currently only in week 9 of Arena Season 1. If we was to then go towards the end of August, so that'd be week 10, 11, 12, we would have a 12-week Season 1 if Phase 2 was to drop on the 31st of August. That is still too short in my opinion, 12 weeks, when we should be aiming at least at 20 weeks per season. Again, even if we was to go all the way to the end of September, that's only going to be, 13, 14, 15. That's still only going to be, if Phase 2 came out on the 28th of September, it's still only going to be a 16-week season, when, as I say, you should be looking at around 20 weeks. So what does this mean? I mean, I don't see Phase 2 dropping at the end of August like people are predicting. And I've seen loads of people predicting it. Unless they really don't mind that the arena season's going to be that short. But if Phase 2 is going to bring the arena season and the raids at the same time, really, they need to be shooting for October, middle of October, to have a balanced PvP season, of reasonable length, and sort of a reasonable period of time of tier 4 content. Now, me personally, obviously, I'm raid logging if you watch me live, or you listen to me on videos more than just this one. It would make sense for them to get tier 5 out as soon as possible. How they do that? Phase 1.5. So if you're watching this Blizz, that's probably your get out of jail free card, and try and get SSC and TK out by the end of the month. I would personally launch it 31st of August, Phase 1.5, and then I would bring Phase 2 probably the 3rd week of October to give a good amount of time for the arena season. Oh, alright. And now it brings us back to where it's safe. Apologies, not on the beer today. Just on the Dr. Pepper, because trying to lay off drinking till Fridays. But anyway, so look, Diablo 2 Resurrected. So Diablo 2 Resurrected. If you don't know already, if you pre-order it now, this Friday, so the 13th, Friday the 13th, hang on. That's not a good day to launch a game about hell, is it? Bit weird. Anyway, we're not launching it, but it's the beta. So the beta starts, if you've pre-ordered, you can play it from Friday, basically for the weekend. And then open beta is the following week, so on August the 20th. So if you have pre-ordered the game, make sure you're ready for this weekend, and I'll be streaming it, obviously, SJ Gaming Live, links in the description. Get involved. But actually, so far, what I've seen of it, I'm quite impressed. As in, actually, how they've brought it up to date graphic-wise does look incredible. We're going to be able to play 5 of the 7 classes that are going to be available at launch, one of which is a Druid, all over that. And multiplayer support 8 people, so it should be some fun. And because it was actually made by the company who remastered Tony Hawk's, remastered Crash Bandicoot, we can expect pretty good things. It's not like Warcraft 3 Reforged or whatever it was called, because we're not hanging all our hopes on Blizzard. This was done by a third party that they've obviously employed to actually do so they're probably going to do a pretty good job of it. I'm really looking forward to playing the beta. I didn't play the alpha, so this Friday is going to be a first for me, but I am quite excited about it. And it's about time we was excited about something when it revolves around Blizzard, do you know what I mean? So let's look at everything that you need to know about Diablo 2. So the important stuff mainly is on all sort of eligible consoles and PC. If you pre-order either the Diablo 2 Resurrected or Diablo Prime Evil Collection, you will be able to play on the beta, the early access beta, on August the 13th, and then there is an open beta on August the 20th for the weekend. So this is the early access on this Friday, so you can see obviously I'm going to be in the London time zone, so it's launching at 6 PM. If you're over in New York, it's a nice afternoon launch. If you're over in LA, it's a nice morning time launch. Santos, Moscow, so you can see, just look on the map, you'll know roughly what time you're going to be able to play on Friday, and it's going to be really good. And they've stuck to exactly the same time schedule again for the following weekend for the open beta. So if you've not pre-ordered but you want to play the open beta, then this is it. So what else do we want to know? So new classes, Druid. This is what I'm most excited about, obviously. So the Druid's a nomadic race who hail from the untamed lands of Skull's Glen. But anyway, I'm not going to read all this. But yeah, so the Druid's in. We've got the Paladin as well. And when it comes to multiplayer, so both test weekends will have multiplayer enabled alongside cross progression on Windows, PC, Xbox, etc. So that's quite interesting. That's very interesting, actually. So up to 8 players can play together in one game. Besides complementary skills that help each other in battle, experience, monster hit points, and the quantity of items dropped scale upwards as more players join the session. Additionally, players can choose to duel each other or even claim a rival's ear in PvP combat. Like the technical alpha, so both Act 1 and 2 will be fully playable. That's it, just Act 1 and 2. Then for you streamers, so just a couple of snippets out of the Q&A that's probably going to be important to you. It is streamable, so if you're a streamer, you can absolutely, there's no NDA or anything like that, obviously. You absolutely can stream, record, keep the footage, post the footage on YouTube, whatever you want to do. It's not available on the Nintendo Switch. And then if you wondered why I mentioned earlier that you could only play 5 of the classes, so here are the 5 that you can play out of the 7. So they're focusing gameplay testing on the 5, which is the Amazon Barbarian, Sorceress, Druid, yes! And Paladin. It will be joined by the Assassin and Necromancer when the game officially launches. So those 2 classes you won't be testing, which is strange. I don't know if they was tested in alpha. I didn't play the alpha, but let's hope they work. Will my progression carry over from the beta across to the next test? Say again, this is another good point as well. So if you participate in the early access weekend, your progression from that test will carry over to the open beta, which kicks off. So it's a good time to get a bit of a head start as well before, you know, flocks and flocks of people come in the open beta to see if it's a game that they actually want to buy. It will have controller support as well. Obviously, I mean, it should have controller support. It's out on consoles, but, you know, you would expect that, surely. I don't like that they say it's being tested. I mean, I hope it works on the Xbox controllers, if you're playing it on the Xbox. But to be fair, they're the only things out of the Q&A that I would consider important that you need to know. The other bits are fairly obvious. It's just telling you when it's running from and to, you know, and then there's some things about obviously not being able to use your old save files and stuff like that, which I don't know, I would have expected personally anyway. But so that's the Diablo news, which is quite exciting, and it does look fantastic as well. I am going to do a post sort of impression video after the beta, so check that out and see what you think. And until the next one, hopefully, you know, some of this news is good, some of it's bad, some of it's speculation, but make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.